and welcome to the Creative Content Marketer Photo Editing Part 2. Last week, we talked about just some of the basic photo editors that are out there. Not so much photo editors, but photo manipulations that kind of helped people that aren't really familiar with Photoshop or have those graphic design skills. And what it does is it helps people that need to create content or visual content on the fly, and kind of a quick option were these editing programs. And we talked about PicMonkey and BeFunky and some of the other photo editors that are out there that are online, that they're offering free elements to help you develop your photo content. Kind of came about if you use Instagram as a way of kind of giving your photos a unique look. So this time, part two, we're going to go a little bit more in depth with some of the editors that are out there that are somewhat in between the beginning photo editors that are out there, or photo manipulation programs, and Photoshop. And one of the photo editing programs out there is called Pixlr. And we talked a little bit about it last week because they have a couple of different programs that are out there. And they have a basic manipulation program that adds effects and makes your pictures look a little bit different and kind of gives them a unique look. Now, this tool is a little bit more, I won't say advanced, but it's closer to what Photoshop has to offer. And if we look at it, you can see if you're familiar with Photoshop, it has kind of the basic layout. It has your tool. It's over here. It has your palette options over here. And some of the things that you can do is obviously manipulate your photos and make them into graphic works of art. People have taken Photoshop to the next level, and Photoshop keeps offering new tools that allow you to do some incredible stuff with your photos. Now here I have a picture of just a winter, we call it a winter wonderland. And just like Photoshop, you're able to open up images and bring them into the editor. Now this is kind of get familiar with the palette options. Over here you have your tool set. And this will go through some of the more common tools that you have at your disposal. So once you upload your photo, then you can go in and you can manipulate it. And you have your crop tool. So let's say you just want to use a certain part of the photo. So you just kind of click and drag. And here you can move it around. You can change the different layouts. Let's say we just want to focus on this part of the program. Okay, if you're happy with that, then that crops your photo to the size that you want. Now, the best thing about these editing programs is nothing is permanent unless you obviously close the program or don't save the picture. You can always undo it and go back to what you have. So that's the crop element. Now the other tools that we have over here is the paintbrush. You have the paintbrush right here. So let's say you just wanted to add a little bit of color. Let's choose blue. Let's say you just wanted to kind of fill in a little area. So you just take the paintbrush and again, what you can do is you can also go up here to the paintbrush palette you can change the size either manually, if you want to do something bigger, and you can see just based off the outline, you can see how big your paintbrush is going to be. So let's say you wanted to do the whole bottom. That speeds things up. Now the other thing you can do is you can see that you can change the hardness. So as you can see, there's a bit of a blur on the edge. If you change the hardness all the way up to 100%, then you can pretty much cover everything. Now again, because you have the undo options, nothing is permanent. Then you have the pencil option, which is somewhat similar to the paintbrush, but it's just more of a pencil. And again, you can change the size of the point. Again, it just depends on what you want to do with your picture. The other thing you have is the fill bucket. Let's say you just wanted to kind of fill in certain areas. And a lot of the tools, what you can do with these programs is just kind of experiment with what you want. Again, as I can undo everything, nothing is permanent. The other tool that we have is called the clone brush. And what that does is if you choose a certain area, is if you hold Control click, as you can see, I chose an area within the diameter, and now I'm actually able to clone certain areas. The benefit of cloning is, let's say there's a certain area that doesn't look right to you. Or if you wanted to add more of something. Let's say you like that area up here, the stars. Add a little crash. As you can see, as with any program, you have things happen. All right, I was discussing the clone element. Let me just increase the size here. And then let's say we wanted to add more of these stars over here. As you can see, it's taking from this area and copying them and adding them over here. So that way, changes up the photo and adds a little bit more color in this area. Again, if I don't like something or if it's too much, I can always undo it. Now, those are most of the tools. And again, you can play around with them. You have a smudging tool if you wanted to kind of smudge a certain area, make it look a little bit different. And again, you can change the strength of it so it's not as much. And if you're not sure about the tools, you can take a look at them and just hover over them and the names will pop up. Here's a blur tool. Let's say you wanted to blur a certain area. Maybe down here. Again, always undo it. One of the things that I like, and again, I've been talking about it, is the non-destructive element of these editing programs. Let's say I wanted to do something over the picture. You have the option of doing layers. So our background is actually the picture here. So let's say I wanted to put something on top of it. Click this little button here, and that adds a layer above it. Now let's say I wanted to do something like a shape, say a circle, and just add a color to it. Okay, let's go with red. Red. All right, I have a red circle now. Now I can move that circle over anywhere I want. The other thing that I can do with it is I right click on the layer. Let's say I want to have two circles. I can duplicate that layer. Now I have two circles. Now the benefit of having layers is if I wanted to do collages or take pictures and blend them, the option of having multiple layers allows me to move things around and position them and manipulate them without touching the original picture. The other thing you could do with layers is you can blend them. And if we look at the layers, you can turn the layers on and off. So if you want to see something without the layers on top, you can turn them on and off. The other thing you could do is you can move the layers around. So eventually when you start manipulating and making collages, you can move pictures around based off of what you need. The other thing you could do is you can add layer styles. Say you wanted to add a drop shadow to one of the circles.